Madam Chair, you may begin.
I'd like to call this meeting to order. Can you please call the roll?
Yes, ma'am. Freeholder Tashami Cooper.
Here.
Freeholder Graham. Absent. Freeholder Johnson. Absent. Freeholder Luciano. Freeholder Mercado.
Here.
Freeholder Pomares. Absent. Freeholder Sebo. Absent. Freeholder Vice President Richardson, and absent, and Freeholder President Gill absent. Madam Chair,
Thank
that
you, Madam
completes
Clerk. Thank you, Madam Clerk. I have before me certification from the clerk that this meeting is in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act. I want to make an announcement to folks who are at homes or in their offices that are watching this meeting on the other media outlets that we will take questions at the end of the meeting. So there's a number up on the screen right now, an 855 number, that if you call, you'll get in the queue. You'll be able to pose your questions to us at the end of the meeting. So at this time, I want to give a quick overview. This is the meeting of the Trap, Neuter, and Release Committee. A couple of months back before the pandemic, I think probably even last year, we had a meeting with the administration, and Administrator Jackson put forth a wonderful recommendation where we did a pilot program where we set aside, I think, roughly about $50,000, where the mobile van that we partnered with was able to roll through certain towns, and people were able to bring the feral cats to them so that the cats could be addressed, so that we could minimize the feral cat population. Also during that time period, Administrator Jackson had put forth a wonderful recommendation that perhaps if we move forward to do this program again the second year, perhaps we would require that the municipalities that choose to participate, we would put out a matching grant so that they would have some skin in the game, and so that we can make a more productive show of force with addressing the feral cat population throughout the county. So at this time, we have with us Administrator Jackson, and I would like you to give us an update on how the program worked for, we started in 19 to 2020. Where are we to date with it? How many cats have been addressed? How much money have we spent? And what would be the plans for 2021?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and also want to recognize Freeholder Mercado. Madam Chair, I think we're pleased with where we are with the program overall. Obviously, COVID-19 has prevented a lot of the program from doing as much as we wanted to, because we couldn't have people gathering and bringing the cats to us. So that, and there was other health issues involved there. So it kind of has been in a bit of an abeyance for a while. However, it has picked up a bit, and I actually have with us on the line Deborah Bifus from the Associated Humane Societies, who is actually working on this program. I'm going to ask her, with your permission, to kind of give an overview of what the society has been doing, and also then I can come back and fill in some numbers that she may or may not include in her conversation. With your permission, Madam Chair, I'd like to have Ms. Bifus address the committee.
Yes, please. Can we please unmute Ms. Bifus?
Who was that? I'm sorry.
Mr. Jackson, what number is she? Is she the 7309?
I'm not sure. I know she was on earlier. I did hear her come on and say she was on. I'm not sure.
It may be that someone named Debbie. It may be her.
Yeah, no, probably Debbie. That's not her? Debbie?
Yeah, right now.
Yes.
That's me.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Okay.
Hi,
Hi,
Ms.
good
Burgess. Thank you
afternoon.
so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me. As Mr. Jackson said, COVID put us in a bind for a little while. We lost about 4 months. Before that, the program was doing very well. We are back into it again. Unfortunately, before we were doing 4 days a month, and now we're down to 2, because, the truck is only out a few days, and we're only in front of the shelter in Newark. We're not going into any of the towns, because we obviously don't want a crowd to form. So we're keeping it here. And the trappers are coming to us, which has been working out fine. One of the big problems, though, is the trapping. We have a lot of people that are willing to help, but they either don't know how to trap or they just don't have the means to trap. So I'm trying to hook up people that are experienced trappers with these, other people who are interested in helping with the feral cats. So that's been going along okay. I don't know, did you have any questions?
How many cats have you guys actually serviced to date? And where, and are there any municipalities that you haven't been able to service?
Well, we have been servicing, Belleville has always been very active. Also, Irvington has stepped up. We've been doing, trying to think what other municipalities.
I actually have the list, Deborah, in front of me if you want. We have Verona, Irvington, Verona, Bloomfield, Belleville, Newark, East Orange, Roseland, Orange. I mentioned East Orange before, Nutley. Those are the towns that I see on our list.
So it sounds like we have a good cross sector so far. It sounds like at least maybe probably about 2/3 of our municipalities have been participating in this program, just listening to the list. Where is the shelter located in Newark that the van is parked in front of?
It's 124 Evergreen Avenue in Newark, right off Freeling-Heisen Avenue. It's right in front of the shelter.
And the 2 days a week, are those structured days, or do they change on a monthly basis?
They change as the the groups. We try to fit it into where they are trapping certain times that they're trapping. So we go with them. Usually Bloomfield is like the end of the month, the last Monday of the month, and Belleville is sort of in the beginning. So that's how we were doing it. Now, we're just, whenever we can do it, we do it. And we also have feral cats coming on our regular surgery days. If someone has a feral cat, and it's hard to trap them, so once they get them, I try to fit them in on any given surgery day, so they're at least getting done.
So is this information posted on your website so that folks know the days that they should actively try to capture these cats and bring them down to you? Like, how do people know, since you said the days kind of move around?
I think a lot of it too is simply word of mouth with the trapping community. I mean, everybody sort of knows one another, and there's some communities obviously that we haven't been able to bring in. We sent letters out, letting all municipalities know about this program. It was last, so we get more information now and try to get more people on board.
I think that certainly would help, because I know probably about a month ago, I was talking to someone who was from either Irvington or East Orange, and they wasn't real sure if your program was up and going yet. So I directed them to try to contact you directly. So I think sending out a letter would be helpful. And if you can, probably come up with more structured days. Mr. Jackson, when was the funding that we allocated scheduled to end? Like, was there a time period that we gave with it?
We put 25,000 in for this year, Madam Chair, and to date we have spent we have $6,325 that we've spent on 124 procedures. And obviously that number would be much higher had it not been for the COVID impact. But so far, and again, that money, I would anticipate that we would put money in the budget for 2021, and may be able to even carry this money over for that purpose as well. But from the very limited time that we've had to work on this, it's as Ms. Bifus said, I think it's been pretty good. We like to actually have the number obviously more, but we have done 124 procedures around the county. I think we have the capacity to do a lot more. God willing, this pandemic will we'll figure out something and be able to do many more procedures, because we have the money there, and we have the will and we have the money, so we should be able to we should get it done.
Ms. Bifus, I have a question. During your presentation, you talked about one of the challenges, since we've kind of been spun around here with the way life is right now. You said that people are struggling to capture some of the cats because they're not real. They need some assistance with trapping. What does trapping involve?
Well, you put a trap out, you bait it, and you have to, capture the animal within a certain time period. The trapping's done at night. If they're not in the trap by the morning, the trap is released, because we don't want these animals in traps for any length of time. So the trappers know what they're doing, and they have a certain criteria. Most people are not successful at it. So, this is why we need the experienced people.
Deborah, can you describe for the board, like what does the trap look like? What is it? How does it function? What do you put in it to get the cat? A little bit more detail on that.
Okay, it's a wire trap. We try to put as little food as possible into the trap. It's a spring set, so when they go into the trap for the food, they're going to knock that spring and close the trap.
So let me ask a question. Do you think that in the climate that we're in right now, that the funding that we have set aside, could we be more effective just leaving the funding in place the way that we have just to do the surgeries? Or do you think is there a way for us to augment a small portion of it to direct the trapping parts? What are your thoughts?
I think helping with the trapping would be a good idea. I think that would be a great idea.
From which perspective? Like, what do you foresee? Like, what could the board do? Is it that we purchase the traps itself, or we host like a training to teach more people how to do the trapping?
Both. I think, there are people that need traps, and there's also a great need to learn how to do this. I do know people that are so good at it. I mean, I could connect you with these people, and maybe they could help with setting up some kind of training.
Let me ask you, Madam Chair, if I could just jump in. How much is a trap? Like, what does a trap cost?
You know what? I'm not really sure. I'm honestly not sure. I know that when we rent out a trap, we try to cover the cost. So we take a deposit of $65, and this is for a cat trap, or for a small animal. So that's kind of to cover the cost. We only charge $4.24 a day, and that is, people are giving that back, giving the rest of the money back. We only charge for the number of days that they use it. But that's, we do give out traps here, but we don't have that many traps either. We're limited as well.
So, Ms. Bifus, if you can you have someone reach out to me or to Mr. Jackson to kind of give us some information on how much these potential traps would cost on an individual basis, and how much would a training cost? And if we could do a training virtually for people who would be interested, because we're looking to get the best bang for our buck, right? And how we work in the climate that we're in right now to address this issue, this need that the board and the administration wants to jointly support.
Yes. I think that, and I'll give you the information. Okay.
Yes. and then therefore Administrator Jackson could review it, and then he could come back to us with a recommendation on if he thinks that we should, augment the funding that we've allocated, because we're well below where we probably would have been if we were under normal circumstances. If that could at least, help us come at addressing our goal for another alternative.
Right.
I think, Madam Chair, I think that's a great idea. In fact, I would even suggest, Deborah, if you could put together like a proposal to do, just kind of following up with Freeholder Cooper said, if you could put together a proposal to do training, but also acquiring some traps, and present it like a holistic thing to us, then we can review that with the committee, and go from there. Because I think that's what we really need, based on what you're saying in response to the freeholders' questions. I think that's kind of, and again, it doesn't sound like we can do very well within even the context of the money we already have.
Oh yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. So I think that's a great idea, Freeholder.
Okay, and so then I think then Administrator Jackson, we can review some more plans for 2021 if we want to move in the direction from your last suggestion about having a matching grant with the municipalities. I don't know with the climate that we're in, if that's something that we would want to roll out right now, or just hold the line on the way that we're doing it right now. So I think the administration, the Freeholder Board can have that discussion on, how we want to do it for the next year. Freeholder Mercado, do you have any questions or concerns?
Yes, I just a couple of comments on the conversation, and then thank you, Madam Chair, for your leadership on this. As you were saying, the traps itself, I have a trap. I went and purchased a trap because that's some animals in my yard, and I wanted to get, and it took a while to learn how to use the trap. You got to know how to work the mechanics of those traps, and they come in different sizes, as the presenter stated. So I think it's a great idea that we invest some money in purchasing some traps and then teaching folks how to use it. I think the messaging of what we're doing is very important, so we can get a larger pool of folks that are really concerned about the cats in our communities. I live in the North Ward in Newark, and I know there's a community organization that is very, very interested in this particular initiative. If there's any way that we can get a flyer or something sent to my office so that I can share with that organization. They have folks, volunteers that have been, trying to save cats in the North Ward community. That's just the North Ward. I'm sure there's the problem is a lot prevalent in all parts of the city, as well as, throughout the county. So any way that I can be helpful in moving this forward, I'm here to support you as well. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Freeholder Mercado. I think you just made a wonderful recommendation. Ms. Bifus, can you do that for us? Can you add, one, you have to follow up back with the proposal that Administrator Jackson just asked for around the training and the trapping, right? But can you put together for us a flyer that communicates the essential information around what now van is parked outside of 124 Evergreen, and that people from throughout the county are welcome to bring in the feral cats, and that you guys will address it, so that we can start getting that information moving right now. And then once the administration and the Freeholder Board approve the training and the trapping, then we come back with another flyer, and then we can disseminate that to Freeholder Mercado and other stakeholders that would be interested in moving that information around the county for us.
Okay, I can do that.
All right. Administrator Jackson, is there anything else that I've missed that we need to discuss?
No, Madam Chair. I think we covered it pretty well, and I think we have a plan going forward.
Great. So, Madam Clerk, at this time, I'm going to move to the public comment session. And again, I want to reiterate the phone number that folks can dial in if they have any questions or comments that they want to make. The number is posted on the screen, but it's 855-756-7520, extension 67569. So, while we're doing that, I just want to thank Freeholder Mercado for joining us today, and for Administrator Jackson and his staff for joining us and working on this important topic that we have that's impacting some of our communities more than others within the county. So, are there any callers on, Lionel?
Yes, there are. There are two callers. If you are calling in, please press 0 and you will be into queue. The first caller that we have, last four numbers of the telephone number is 6566. You are being queued in to speak at this time. Caller, you are live.
Hello, this is Linda Natoli. I'm interested in cats. My basic question was on the administration of everything and how everything is managed. Because I know a lot of well, when you were talking before about who's going to trap the cats. Now, there are animal control people in every single town, and many of them earn over $60,000, and a lot of them don't do a whole lot. They don't do any trapping. It really shouldn't be up to all the citizens to do with the trapping. So I would think of them as another resource, because there's a lot of money being spent in the county for all of these animal control people. So that's one idea. And also, there has to be more communication as far as the management and which cats are being done, because we don't always know that it's Essex County cats that we're being taken in for operations, because a lot of the nonprofits are in Union County. And basically, I think all the ideas that were said were good so far about the mobile unit and all that. That was a very good idea. And it'd be nice to have more communications to people that are, interested in this, because I had mentioned it to the health person in Irvington, and she didn't, when this first started, I mentioned that to her. She hadn't heard of it. So that's about all I wanted to say. And we need a lot more, after the cats are trapped, somebody has to feed them. So resources are needed also for that. That's about all I wanted to say.
And through you, Madam
I'd
Chair,
like to thank
caller to state your full name again and your city, or your address, or any association if you are related to association, for the record.
my name is Linda Natoli. I'm not associated with any organization, but I have trapped cats in the past, just the ones that were outside my house. And I'm from Irvington.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your call. The next caller is calling from, last four numbers is 2461. Again, anybody that's waiting to speak, please push 0 on your phone and you will be connected into our queue. Next caller, you are allowed to speak now.
Mama Meow, Charlotte Gala, Irvington. I listened to Debbie's little spiel about how Irvington has stepped up. I'd like to know who's doing Irvington. Also, I don't think there's very good communication. She gave the key point. They contact their friends, and their friends use the trap, return, and neuter. We cannot have that. We need some kind of system. And you're talking about buying traps and trapping, yet you won't invest in a trapper, a professional person. You're putting a non-person that does a trap that you teach. They could catch a raccoon, they could catch a possum, and guess what? They can even catch a rat. What are they going to do? These are not people that are interested in trapping. They just want to trap their cat. Generally, when they have people that teach it, they have to have somebody there. You have seniors, you have people that are non-speaking English, you have people that are Haitian, Spanish, in Irvington. You would have to be able to explain it to them, and you would have to be going into the neighborhood. Forget the notifying people will help you with the traps. You got to be on the street like I am. I'm on the street 24/7 in Irvington. I haven't seen any cats being trapped in Irvington for a long time. She said Irvington has stepped up. Who are the trappers that are doing it? I asked the committee to have Amber become the professional trapper so that we know accountability of where the cats are being done. You rather not invest in a person, you rather invest in traps and also workshops. Oh, we'll pay for workshops. Excuse me? Workshops should be free, and we had a workshop with the great Valerie Wilson, okay, and our animal control. 3 people showed up. What do you think is going to be with the trapping? The only people that are going to be interested in the trapper is the one that has the cat that they want them to be either that they're pregnant or they don't want them there to be taken care of. Debbie is glazing over this. She's not being honest. We do not have the resources. What about the seniors that can't drive? What about people that are on SNAP that don't drive, that take buses? The mobile van should be accessible to everybody in needs area. You said East Orange is being done. Who's doing it? Miss Pat? Is it Kathy Yates? Who is it? We need to know where these cats are being done and how many. Yeah, they're low for the quarantine. Yet Eileen was paying for another to do my cats. She came in as a trapper. She's a professional trapper, one of the best. She came in and did my cats in Irvington that were pregnant. Your association shut down. Debbie said, sorry, we're not doing any cats. Don't bother me. My boss said we're done. Cats will get pregnant. Cats are sick. There is nobody you can call. There are no numbers at that Humane Society that is interested in the residents. You have a dead cat, they don't have nobody picking it up. I've been picking up dead cats for years, putting it in, bagging, tagging them, and throwing them away. Everybody's, oh, isn't that cute? Isn't that nice? Sent pictures. That's not fair. We pay people to do this. And then I called Humane Society John. Oh, he's the best. He represents Saturday and Sunday. I called him. He said, don't bother me. Bag it, tag it yourself. It's the weekend. I don't come. So she's making a nice little presentation there. Buy some traps. What happens if a person gets hurt? Who's going to pay the insurance? The trap can snap wrong if you don't do it right. Who's going to pay the insurance? Are you covered by that? Oh, buy the trap. Traps are not easy that time. You have to know what you're doing. Like she said, professional people should be doing this. It's like sending somebody to a store that has not really paid attention. And some people don't pay attention unless they do it themselves. They can do it there and then they forget when they go home. You have to have people working together. We don't have that. Debbie's good at telling me. I called her how many times. I asked her for cat food. Oh, I'm going to send you some. You're not entitled to it. It's only SNAP people. See you around. Never answered me again. So why do we need people like that? I'm upset. She's telling you all kinds of stories and you're going, yeah, this sounds good. Yeah, we'll put money into that. Yeah, that's not the easy solution. Are you out on the street here? Are you feeding cats? Are you seeing what's going on in the neighborhoods? I see every time I see these cats that have to be done. No. Is she interested? No. She's giving a nice presentation. Nice. That sounds good. Yeah, we'll have workshops. Who's going to attend? What time? Where? Oh, yeah, sounds good. She hasn't done any communication once. Not in any kind of flyer, not anything. And you're telling me, oh, this is great. This is a horrible meeting. Horrible. It's all baloney.
So, Ms. Gala,
I'm upset
thank you.
because I'm on the street with these cats, and I've been begging long enough for these community cats. I've been begging.
Ms.
It's not
Gala,
fair to me.
thank you. Ms. Gala, this is Freeholder Cooper. We thank you for your comments, and your participation. She raised a good question that actually did pop in my mind during Ms. Bifus's presentation. And I understand that we're in a climate where we want to be hesitant. But what about the people that are not mobile, that don't have cars, who can drive down to the Humane Society? How is
Before
the
COVID hit, we were going out with the mobile. We were going out with it. But we haven't been able to during the pandemic because we did not want to go into any area that would make a crowd form. It's very controlled when people come down. Here, we're able to control it. That's why we haven't been going to the towns.
Well, let me ask a question. When you go out to some of these towns, when you said you don't want to crowd the form, so let's say if you took the van to Orange or to Irvington, how many people typically come out to the van? Are you talking about 3 or 4?
Quite a few, because, they're making appointments and they're coming. But anytime the van shows up, other people are going to come by. But I would like to address one issue. When we have people bringing cats, they have to sign a waiver where that cat came from and that cat will go back to that location. We don't just randomly take cats, and we make sure that these are Essex County cats.
How do you make sure that they're Essex County cats? Do people have to show identification?
Yes, they have. They have to sign a very involved waiver, and I will send you a copy of that so you can see what they do sign.
So that's how we get verification that we are servicing Essex County residents and not residents from Union County.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. They have to sign, put their name, their telephone number, exactly where they picked the cat up from, and sign that they will release that cat exactly back to that area.
Mr. Jackson, your thoughts?
Yeah, I do have some thoughts. I think we all appreciate Ms. Gala's passion around this issue and her commitment to it. However, I do think that it's not, on a practical basis, I don't think it's realistic to say a trapper is going to be sufficient for the county of Essex. It's a huge swath of land, and there is some issues with local control. We could certainly take a look at having somebody supplement what's going on, but it's really going to take volunteers, and there is quite a community of volunteers who do the trapping. I think it has to be a combination of things. You put one person on to be the quote unquote professional trapper. Are we realistically thinking that there's going to be getting to enough numbers that we're looking for? I know in Montclair there are a number of folks who are I don't know if they're professional, but they are expert trappers. I'm sure that there are others in and around the county. So I think we have to do two things. I'd be happy to look at this notion of getting somebody who's dedicated to it more, but also understanding that it's going to have to be that plus enhancing our volunteer network of trappers. Are we going to get 50 people to show up in a room to do it? Probably not. But if we can get 3 or 4 people, per town who are doing it, that's a good start. Then we can build from there. So I don't think it's the comment that we just have the one. We don't have a trapper. I don't think that is going to be sufficient.
Mr. Jackson, I agree with you. I think you're absolutely right. I think it has to be a combination of things. I think the only other thing I would add to your comments is that we've got to figure out a way how to engage the municipalities, because the last caller was equally right that not all towns, some towns have animal control offices and animal control officers. And if we could figure out a way to bridge that resource at the municipal local level with our resources. And then in combination with volunteers, we can certainly make a bigger dent if we're able to bring all three resources to bear on this issue. But at least now we're starting somewhere. You know, a year or 2 years ago, we didn't have anything going in this regard.
Correct.
And like you said, I appreciate Ms. Gallow's passion, and I appreciate all that she and all the other volunteers do. But at least we're starting to address this. We're starting to make an investment in this area.
Agreed.
It was crazy. It was boring.
Lionel, you're not muted. All right. So, Freeholder Mercado, do you have any other final comments, questions, concerns, or anything?
No, just one comment. Again, I also appreciate Ms. Gallo's passion. I think this is to address this effectively. It's going to take a collective approach, and we need to engage our volunteers, our community organizations, our municipal organizations that have the resources to bear. And it's going to take some coordination, obviously, but I think we're on the right track. Administrator Jackson, put it forth, that we can, we have a plan. We can move forward with the plan. The funding is there. If necessary, we need to continue it for 21. That option is on the table, but we need to expend the ones that we have for 2020. And then we have talked about some creative ways to use that money effectively. And I think it's a combination of a couple of things. So I think we just need to move forward and keep working on it. It's a work in progress. So I'm pleased to be a part of this group, and thank you for your leadership, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Freeholder Mercado. So before we conclude our meeting, I want to recap the to-dos and the next steps. So Ms. Bifus, you're going to give Administrator Jackson a proposal centered around the training and trapping.
Right.
As a part of that, tell us how much a professional trapper would, cost, so that we can evaluate all of the above. And Administrator Jackson will review it in concert with the Freeholder Board. We'll look at it.
Okay. I have no idea how much they would want. I would have to look into that. I really don't know how much a professional trapper would want.
That's fine.
I would look
That's
into
fine.
that.
Ms. Gala did, I know she recommended a person. I'm sure we can get the name of the person, but
Amber.
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, right.
3 names. Yes, she did.
Yes, because we have worked with Amber.
So we can take a look at some of the, that person to see if that's, and maybe this is the person who not only does some trapping, but also can spearhead a, volunteer / training initiative as well.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Yes. So that, Ms. Bifus, you're going to come back to us with a flyer that we can communicate out based around the activities that you're doing right now, the structured days that you have for people to come and bring the cats down to your location at 124 Evergreen down in Newark. And then
hopefully, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, hopefully, if this, our situation changes with the COVID, I mean, we will be going into the communities again. And, if an area has a certain number of cats, we will take the mobile right there and do them to that area. So we're not,
that was going to be one of my asks that I would like for you to figure out if we could do. I've gotten calls over the last couple of months from seniors, and they were from, I believe they were from either Irvington or Orange. And their challenge is that they aren't mobile, they don't drive. So that would be one of my questions to you. Is there a way that we could
work with them? We could work with them by transporting them here.
Like that.
Yes.
Right. So, come up with a process for me and communicate that back to us so that when we get those phone calls, we can give them some more comprehensive directions on what they need to do.
Okay.
And then once we get the proposal, if we approve it and move forward, then you're gonna put together some kind of communication, a flyer that we can put out to the public at large to talk about the training or to talk about the professional trapper, you know, whatever our final decision would be around that area.
Right, okay.
All right, so I think that's it for us. If all hearts and minds are clear, I will entertain a motion for us to adjourn if no one else have any questions or final thoughts.
Madam Chair, just for the record, there's no one else in queue.
Oh, thank you so much, Lionel. I completely forgot to ask you that question before we end it. So thank you guys all so much for joining us today. Mr. Jackson, you and your staff, the administration, the county exec, I really appreciate you guys for your support around this issue. Freeholder Mercado, thank you so much for joining us. To Deborah and her staff, you guys have been fantastic as usual. I thank you guys for all that you do. You've helped make this a very seamless process for me. So
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank
Madam
you guys.
Chair, I move to
Take care.
close.
All right, bye-bye.